be a bigger scheme behind this affair than we imagine. In fact, it suggests to me that the Northerners are being stirred up against you and your men for some other and more powerful reason than to make you get out of the country and compel the government to withdraw your license. So help me God, I believe there's more behind it." "So do I," said Philip, quietly. "Have you any suspicions of what might be the more powerful motive?" "None. I know that British capital is heavily interested in mineral lands east of the surveyed line, but there is none at Churchill. All operations have been carried on from Montreal and Toronto. Have you written to Brokaw about this letter?" "You are the first to whom I have revealed its contents," said Philip. "I have neglected to tell you that Brokaw is so worked up over the affair that he is joining me in the north. The Hudson's Bay Company's ship, which comes over twice a year, touches at Halifax, and if Brokaw followed out his intentions he took passage there. The ship should be in within a week or 10 days. And by the way," Philip stood up and thrust his hands deep in his pockets as he spoke, half smiling at Gregson, "it gives me pleasure to hand you a bit of cheerful information along with that," he added. "Miss Brokaw is coming with him. She is very beautiful." Gregson held a lighted match until it burnt his fingertips. "The deuce you say! I've heard—" "Yes, but you have heard of her beauty, no doubt. I am not a special enthusiast in your line, Greggy, but I will confirm your opinion of Miss Brokaw. You will say that she is the most beautiful girl you have ever seen, and you will want to make heads of her for Burke's. I suppose you wonder why she is coming up here. So do I." There was a look of perplexity in Philip's eyes which Gregson might have noticed if he had not gone to the door to look out into the night. "What makes the stars so big and bright up in this country, Phil?" he asked. "Because of the clearness of the atmosphere through which you are looking," replied Philip, wondering what was passing through the other's mind. "This air, compared with ours, is just like a piece of glass that has been cleaned of a year's accumulation of dirt." Gregson whistled softly for a few moments. Then he said without turning, "She's got to go some if she beats the girl I saw this evening, Phil." He turned at Philip's silence, and laughed. "I beg your pardon, old man. I didn't mean to speak of her as if she were a horse. I mean Miss Brokaw." "And I don't particularly like the idea of betting on the merits of a pretty girl," replied Philip. "But I'll break the rule for once, and wager you the best hat in New York that she does beat her." "Done," said Gregson. "A little gentle excitement of this sort will relieve the tension of the other thing, Phil. I've heard enough of business for tonight. I'm going to finish a sketch that I have begun of her before I forget the fine points. Any objection?" "None at all," said Philip. "Meanwhile I'll go out to breathe a spell." He put on his coat and took down his cap from a peg on the wall. Gregson had seated himself under the lamp and was sharpening a pencil. As Philip went to go out, Gregson drew an envelope from his pocket and tossed it on the table. "If you should happen to see anyone that looks like her," he said, nodding toward the envelope, "kindly put in a word for me, will you? I did that in a hurry. It's not half flattering." Philip laughed as he picked up the envelope. "The most he began. He caught himself with a jerk. Gregson, looking up from his pencil sharpening, saw the smile leave his lips and a quick flush leap into his bronzed cheeks. He stared at the face on the envelope for a half a minute, then gazed speechlessly at Gregson. It was Gregson who laughed, softly and without suspicion. "How does your wager look now?" he taunted. "She is beautiful," murmured Philip, dropping the envelope and turning to the door. "Don't wait for me, Greggy. Go to bed. He heard Gregson laugh behind him, and he wondered, as he went out, what Gregson would say if he told him that he had drawn on the back of the old envelope the beautiful face of Eileen Brokaw. End of chapter 4. Recording by Roger Moline.